What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to hit the slew of games for tonight. We only got 5, so that's nice. I thought with the end season there was usually more, but I guess they're only having 5. So anyway, I looked at these, and I do like these games because a lot of them fit our metrics. Again, the metrics typically balance out. So uh, we got the Chiefs, which was nice. Obviously, the Eagles, that seemed like a scripted game. And I think they're going to run with that narrative now. It just seemed obvious that the Eagles were going to get redemption. So anyone that tailed that for 4 units, it was nice to get back on track after a rough Sunday. But I do think that they're going to keep forcing this narrative that Mahomes is a one-man show. That drop looked pretty suspicious to me. That dude had it completely secured and then just kind of popped out. So, yeah, I'll take it any day of the week. But I know a lot of people weren't too happy about that game. And of course the refs get blamed, but like I said, I think a lot of people are in on it. But anyway, going into tonight's games again, and these games, I think a lot of these, like the first two I like off the bat because I like the Magic because they're really good against the spread. Not really good, but they're good against the spread this year. And I don't think they're going to continue at the pace. Well, I know they're not going to continue at the pace they're on, but I think people are more likely to take the Magic. They just beat down the Pacers. So at home, I think people are going to be on the Magic. I like the Raptors here to win the game. And conversely, I like the Pacers to cover the Hawks. Now, actually, I forget whoever it was, and I appreciate it. He commented, and you can identify yourself. I just honestly forget who it was. But he said he uses my metrics basically with every game. So he'll just take the worst team against the spread of the two. And he said, man, I've been killing it doing that. And I probably should do that more myself, but I do know that there's going to be teams that we're not always going to have the better team win against the spread. Over the course of the season, it does balance out. So typically this would be a game where the Hawks would be favorable. Atlanta not too good against the spread. But in this game, my favorite play is the under. Pacers are 11-1 on the over this year. So the public is just more likely to take the over because they've gone over so much. Now, the reason I don't love it is because it's such a high spread, 252.5. So I do like it a lot because of the metric. But like I was just explaining, I do try and factor other things in besides just that metric. So for this game, I do like the under, but I'm going to make it a leg 2 for 2 units. Everything else is a leg 1 for 1 unit, except this leg 2 for 2 units. It would be a leg 3 for 4. The only reason I'm not playing the under as a leg 3 for 4 is 252.5 is ridiculously high. So the public still might be, even though Pacers have gone over a lot, you might have public slamming the under. So I'm going to play it for 2 units, though I do believe in the metric. And I do believe that the Pacers will cover. You can see it is a suspicious looking spread, and I get that. And I also get that not as important, but both teams could move to 7-6 with a Hawks win. And this obviously is because, in my opinion, the fact that Atlanta is at home. If I was going to look for injuries, and I was going to say, I'd be surprised if someone, although ESPN lies about them all the time, I'd be surprised if someone was injured because I hadn't seen anything. So yeah, 3.5. It does seem a little weird. But again, the Pacers, I think Vegas is basically going from the public's perception of these teams. And again, I think the Pacers are going to do outstanding this year. So it's kind of like the Lions back in week 2, week 3, where they still weren't getting respectful lines. So I was picking them, and a lot of times people were saying, it looks like a trap. And we wound up getting a lot of the Lions games. So I think we're going to get a lot of Pacers games with that same logic. I will take them with the points, though. So I just wanted to go into both ends of it because on one end you can see it looks a little shady, but if you're looking at the Pacers from the public's perception, I think the public is going to think that Atlanta is a better team at home, especially. I don't think they're sold on Halliburton yet, Mathurin. Maybe they are, but I think they're going to get pushed pretty hard. But anyway, after a beatdown, I like the Pacers to cover, and I like the under. And again, the under is the only leg 2 for 2 units. The rest are going to be leg 1 for 1 unit. I like the Cavs to cover the Sixers here. Again, 7.5 isn't a great amount. I'm not saying everyone's going to be on the Sixers, but Sixers are really good against the spread. and the Cavs haven't had too many beatdowns this year. And in my rankings video, I went into how I think Mitchell's going to get traded. I don't think the Cavs are going to be a great team this year, but I do think they'll cover this spread. And again, mostly because of metrics. Now, Suns, I love to cover this spread. It's just really high. You're looking at a football score here. So I think people are just going to be drooling over the possibility of the upset for the money line and drooling over 13.5, getting that many points. And the Blazers have been gritty in a lot of their games this year. They haven't just got blown out like last year. There's been games they got blown out, but it's not like a continual joke. So I do like the Suns to cover this spread. And the last one, I like the Lakers to cover. They've been, unimpressive as far as covers. They blow covers all the time. And it's usually I'd ride with the Jazz, but again, they're another one in my rankings. Our West rankings are aging really well. Outside of one thing which is really funny actually. So we have 9 of the 10 teams we have are in right now. But I had the Spurs getting in and the T-Wolves not. What's comical about that is the T-Wolves are in first place and the Spurs are in last place. So obviously that's aging like milk right now. Now as far as the East, we're doing way better in the West. Like I said, we got 9 of the 10. And I do think the Spurs will make a run. Now whether Minnesota gets booted out or not, I'm not sure. In the East, we're not doing as well because I do have both the Pistons and Hornets in the play-in. And obviously right now they're not looking good at all. I had the Raptors and Hawks falling out. So we'll have to see what happens. Only a few games separating the Hawks and Hornets technically, so anything can happen there. But I did find it interesting. We were perfect on the West, yet completely wrong about I got the first team out of there and I got the 15th team in there. I find that pretty interesting. But we'll see what happens. I think the Spurs make a run. I think Edwards might get dealt, honestly. I have a feeling. It sounds weird because they're winning, but they could definitely go on a losing streak. And I just think they're talking about him as a superstar. You know what they love to do when there's a guy established as a superstar. They love to trade him. Speaking of that, we got KD over here complaining that people are bashing him when they lose parlays, but they don't send him Cash App deposits when he helps them win. And again, I find that comical. And what's interesting is they're talking about gambling more than ever. If you go back in history, now you can say it's because there's more gambling now, but it just shows what enablers the NFL, NBA, and all these leagues are. They weren't talking about spreads, been talking about teams. They weren't talking about where the public was at. You didn't have players tweeting stuff out. You didn't have ESPN trolling fans saying, oh, this team was covering the spread until 2 seconds, 0.2 of a second when this guy heaved up a shot. And they're almost making it a running joke. And I think it's because they know, fans know at this point. And it's almost like they're taking the heat off themselves by having the players say things, by having different media outlets say things instead of the league, the league itself being associated. So the NBA kind of is just this collective group that doesn't really get brought up when they talk about the betting. It's hard to describe, but I think you get what I'm saying. They're trying to distance themselves from it so the players will talk about the gambling aspect, but they do it in a way so people can blame the players, blame the refs, and not really look at it as a sports entertainment group that is out there scripting these games. That all being said, again, 13.5 is just very heavy, so I like the Suns to cover. I think KD is going to be expecting some Cash App deposits. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a follow-up tweet. But anyway, yeah, so that's all of them. Oh, yeah, and we got, Lakers covering. So Lakers cover, Suns cover, Cavs cover, Pacers cover, and our only straight up, we're going to take the Raptors to win. All leg ones for 1 unit, and then Pacers, Hawks, under is going to be for 2 units as a leg 2. So hopefully we do well. I think we will. Obviously, we don't have any leg 3s tonight. It was good to get the one from last night. And it was a money line, so we got slightly better than a unit, obviously. Basically just a juice breaker, but I'll take it. And it'd be nice, too, like I said, if we can get a good hit rate tonight. I think I have a good read on these games. Some of these spreads just seem a little off, so especially with the in-season tournament, I could see teams like the Lakers and Suns running up the score, and they can use that as a reason to explain why they're covering spreads. With the second left shooting shots. They've been doing that kind of stuff too. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings. I'll have Thanksgiving picks out, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It's the holidays, people getting in the mood early. That's what I've been doing. Relatives coming in, so straightening up. That's why I've been a little busier. But I did have a little bit of time, so I figured I'd knock out these 5 games. So, like I said, I will get the Thanksgiving games out. They should be interesting this year, with Detroit looking pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. So take care and happy earnings.